Multi-unit property or multiple individual properties? Which one? When it comes to big scale property investing, you don't get many bigger than these ones. But which one rules? Now that's a bit of a trickier question to answer. But before I go answering it, could you guys do me a favor? And that's to support my channel, guys. And the best actual way to do that is by liking this video, sharing it too, and subscribing with the notification bell on as well. First and foremost, I want to stress that this is a very good problem to have. It is a problem, but it's a good one to have because it shows that you as a property investor, you're doing all the right things to be put in this situation in the very first place. So well done to you guys for being in this situation. I recently had to ask myself this same question too, just to decide which direction I wanted my property portfolio to go in. But I'll give you guys my verdict later on in this video. First, I think it's important to actually establish what each type of investment is, so that everyone's on the same understanding as to what each property strategy entails. You see, with multi-unit properties, otherwise known as multi-dwelling units or MDUs, what you effectively have is several flats/units all within one singular building, with private accommodations for each occupant within those flats/units. Now, multi-unit properties tend to have each of their units stacked above each other and/or beside each other. And multiple individual properties is exactly what it says on the tin. Properties that are bought individually, unrelated towards each other. So you might have a house here and you might have a flat further up the road, totally unconnected. And straight away, just by explaining the difference between those two property investment strategies, you can see that there's a pro favoring one more than the other, and it's location, guys. Yes, you can have multiple individual properties right next to each other, maybe even neighbors, for example, but each of those properties have to be treated individually. Whereas with a multi-unit property, it all falls under one roof, whether it's dealing with multiple tenants, or maybe it's doing some renovations or fixing some maintenance issues. You know that it's going to be easier to manage because it all falls within that one place. This then brings me on to my next point, and it's diversification. As an investor, diversification is one of the most important things that you can use to protect your portfolio. It's a form of risk management because if something wrong happens with this one property here, then you've got several other properties completely unrelated to it that you can use to bounce back from that decline in that one particular aspect. And you can see that this favors multiple individual properties because you've got completely unrelated properties that are going to help build your portfolio. Whereas in a multi-unit property, you don't have this privilege, If you have an issue with the roof, guess what? All of your tenants are going to have an issue with that roof. If a pipe's burst, it doesn't just affect one tenant, it affects the whole building, guys. And that could be a make or break for a lot of investors. Another point I want to talk about is the practical aspect of acquiring these properties in the very first place. And I think generally speaking, it favors multiple individual properties instead. Because even though the most basic mortgage application can be such a drag, it's very straightforward and simple in principle, Each property is dealt with individually. Whereas with a multi-unit property, this is not the case, guys. Only a limited number of mortgage borrowers will actually loan out to you. And also you need a considerable amount of property experience prior to it to even apply for a mortgage in the very first place. There are many more barriers to get into this form of investing with a multi-unit property. And finally, my last thing to point out is high rental yields. And I generally think this favors multi-unit properties instead. Because one thing you're able to do to some degree with multi-unit property is you're able to monopolize that particular area. Because you could set your own prices at your own terms for the people living within those units. Very powerful thing. For example, with multi-unit properties, you can apply a service charge to each of your tenants. This will ensure the upkeeping of the whole building is fully funded. Also, I tend to find that multi-unit properties use space much more efficiently than having individual properties would. In conclusion, I hope you guys can see the pros and cons of a multi-unit property and also of having multiple individual properties too. Whatever decision you choose to make, regardless, is a good situation to be in, guys. And regarding my own personal situation that I mentioned earlier on, me and my joint partners have actually decided to go with neither. Now. I think it's important to stress that it's not because we don't feel each option is good. We were very torn between the two. But what we realized actually is that with the money that we're going to get, it's better to use more efficiently elsewhere. But that's for another day. Let me know what your thoughts are. Are you team multi-unit property or are you team multiple individual properties? Let me know down in the comment box below. And whilst you're there, make sure to like this video, guys. Share it too and subscribe with the notification bell on as well. It's your favourite YouTuber, Disneyland Finance, sharing my thoughts and my experiences with you guys every Sunday at 3 p.m. Have a great day, people. Bye.
Whoa.